Cardiovascular systems in animals. Objectives. To learn the functions of the cardiovascular systems. To be able to identify the parts of the animal's heart. Be able to trace the pathway of blood as it circulates the heart. Introduction. Throughout the history, people have believed that the heart plays a vital role in the body. The ancients supposed it was the seat of the spirit, the center of happiness, and in control of both the emotions and the intellect. Even today, we place the heart at the root of our emotions when we speak of being heartbroken or brave at heart. It is true that the heart plays an essential life-giving role in an animal's body, but the mystery of what function it actually performs has been solved. That the heart is the pump that drives the cardiovascular system. Mammalian anatomy and physiology of animals. The cardiovascular systems of the mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fish are all slightly different. The following is an overview of the main components of the mammal system, which is the heart and blood vessels. The right side of the heart receives venous blood from the body through the superior and inferior vena cava, which enter the right atrium. Blood flows through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. Blood leaves the right ventricle through the pulmonary valve into the main pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery divides into the right and left pulmonary arteries to transport deoxygenated blood from the right side of the heart to the right and left lungs. The pulmonary arteries branch further into the pulmonary capillary bed where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange occurs. The four pulmonary veins. The four pulmonary veins, two from the right lung and two from the left lung, carry oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left of the heart. The oxygenated blood flows from the left atrium through the mitral valve and into the left ventricle and out through the aortic and through the body. The electrocardiogram. The P wave of electrocardiogram represents atrial contraction. The PR interval is a measure of time from the onset of atrial contraction to the onset of ventricular contraction. The QRS complex represents the complete depolarization of the ventricles. The ST segment represents the complete depolarization of the ventricles. Elevation or depression of this segment may indicate heart muscle ischemia. The QT interval represents the complete depolarization and repolarization of the ventricles. A prolonged QT interval is a risk factor for ventricular arrhythmias and sudden death. The cardiac conjunction system. Electrical impulses originate in the sinoatrial node, located at the junction of the right atrium and superior vena cava. Each electrical impulse generated from the SA node travels to the right and left atrium, causing the atria to contract. The impulse then travels to the atrial ventricular node, ARVNO. then the bundle of his, and finally through the right and left bundle branches of the ventricles, causing the ventricles to contract. On the left side of the heart is usually 3 times greater than the right side. The normal right atrial pressure is 3, which is the range is 2 to 8. The left atrial pressure is 8, which is the range is 6 to 12. Vessels. A vessel is a hollow tube for transporting something, like a garden hose transporting water. A blood vessel is a hollow tube for transporting blood. There are 3 main types of blood vessels: arteries, capillaries, veins. These main blood vessels function to transport blood through the entire body and exchange oxygen and nutrients for carbon dioxide and wastes. Carry blood away from the heart and are under high pressure from the pumping of the heart. To maintain their structure under this pressure, they have thick, elastic walls to allow stretch and recoil. The large pulmonary artery carries unoxygenated blood from the right ventricles to the lung, where it gives off carbon dioxide and receives oxygen. The capillaries make up a network of tiny vessels with extremely thin, highly permeable walls, and then they present in all major tissues of the body and functions in exchange of gases, nutrients, and fluids between the blood and body tissues and alveoli of the lungs. At the opposite side of the capillary beds, the capillaries merge to form veins, which return the blood back to the heart. The veins are under much less pressure than the arteries and therefore have much thinner walls. The veins also contain one-way valves in order to prevent the blood from flowing the wrong direction in the absence of pressure. The pulmonary vein returns oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atria. The vena cava returns blood from the body to the right atria. The blood that is returned to the heart is then recycled through the cardiovascular system. Birds' hearts have 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. This is the most efficient system as deoxygenated and oxygenated blood are not mixed. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body through the both of the inferior and superior vena cava. Same with birds. Mammalian also have 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. This is the most efficient system because of the oxygenated and oxygenated blood are not mixed. The right atrium receives the oxygenated blood from the body through the both inferior and superior vena cava. Amphibians and reptiles, by contrast, have 3-chambered heart. The 3-chambered heart consists of 2 atria and 1 ventricle. The separation of the ventricles is not complete. However, because a hole remains in septum, which is wall that divides the 2 chambers, blood leaving the ventricles passes into one of 2 vessels. It either travels through the pulmonary arteries leading to the lungs or through a 4th aorta leading to the rest of the body. Oxygenated blood returning to the heart from the lungs through the pulmonary vein passes into the left atrium, while deoxygenated blood returning from the body through the sinus venosus passes into the right atrium. Both atria empty into the single ventricle, mixing the oxygen-rich blood returning from the lungs with the oxygen-depleted blood from the body tissues, while this system assures that some blood always passes the lungs and then back to the heart. The mixing of blood in a single ventricle means that the organs are not getting blood saturated with oxygen. Conclusion: the cardiovascular system of animals consists of the heart and blood vessels. It is responsible for providing each cell of the body with the oxygen and nutrient it needs, while removing waste products.